In these times of uncertainty, it's all the more important that we keep collaborating, informing, and inspiring each other, so that we can be smarter and better tomorrow. Welcome to the Pakhuis de Zwijger livecast.
Hello everyone, a warm welcome to those who are watching here on the livecast of the digitalization on fashion. A warm welcome for the people who are watching online, but also for the people who are watching through Salto. I am Linda Vermaat and I will be the host of today. This program is a co-creation between Pakhuis de Zwijger and CIRCL. And CIRCL is a platform for the acceleration towards the shift to a more circular economy. Today we will be talking in English, as you probably already heard, because we have an international guest speaker. I think this is maybe one of the good things about having an online event, is that it's really easy to pop in those international speakers. If you would love to participate, also this is possible. Please go to the Zoom and you can ask any question you want or any comment you make. Today, we discuss the role of the digitalization in fashion, but also how this can contribute to a more sustainable industry. Of course, the coronavirus had a very strong impact on the fashion industry. But could this maybe lead toward the end of fast fashion? And how could this current digital area have an effect on the fashion production on the long run? I will not talk all by myself this night because I have three enormous, incredible fashion expert guests. I will introduce them first to my right. And this is Tess. Hey, Tess. Tess is a fashion designer. And you are actually been selected for the Helsinki Fashion Week. Indeed. And this will be your first international fashion week. And you will work with only fully refurbished materials. So this is totally in tune with the sustainable topic of tonight. Then we have on the left, we have Jana. Jana is an innovation analyst at Fashion for Good. And Fashion for Good is a platform for global sustainable fashion.
Exactly.
And I mentioned already earlier that we also have an international guest. So this is your cue, Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. Nice to see you. She's the creative director of the Helsinki Fashion Week and a real influencer in the fashion scene. Hello, Evelyn.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Such an incredible group of women tonight.
Thank you so much for joining. You are the creative director of the Helsinki Fashion Week. Are you now in Helsinki or are you in Paris?
I'm in Paris right now.
Ah, great. The Helsinki Fashion Week, which normally takes place, of course, always in the last week of July of the year. This is the first week to be recognized as a super sustainable fashion week. Why is this? What does it actually mean to be a really sustainable fashion week? Could you explain this a bit?
Absolutely. I've never heard us to be called super sustainable, but I like it. Super, mega, extra sustainable. What does it mean? It means that every single decision that we make is based on our values, which are very deeply embedded in our mindset, basically. Everything that we do, from selecting the designers or the venue or inviting international guests, everything is bond to what is the most sustainable option.
And I also heard that you really go beyond everything. So you also, for example, cook with waste.
Yes.
Why do you also include these kinds of things? Because on the first hand, you would say this has nothing to do with fashion.
Well, over the years, since 2014, we have come to a conclusion that fashion touches every part of our life. It's a tool, and in order to connect with the people that we want to speak to, our target audience, we have to take into consideration every part of their lifestyles. We don't actually cook waste, but we cook with industry waste food. So, for example, overproduced ingredients of that specific season. But we don't just cook them, we cook them in a fine dining way. So we don't take away from the experience, but we do make it in the most sustainable way as possible. And we educate our guests at the same time. So it's the whole package. You don't have to compromise, even if you are using, ugly tomatoes or potatoes and onions that were overproduced that specific season. You can still have delicious meals and still have that experience and learn a lot.
And how did people react to your idea when you first started it, and how are people now reacting to it now in 2020?
Yes, it's a big question. I think back in the days when we started, people were very doubtful and thought it's unnecessary and it's not such an important part to focus on. And I feel like right now, we have become an example Fashion Week. We talk to a lot of other fashion weeks. They get in touch with us and we tell them exactly how we do different things in Helsinki Fashion Week, from production aspect or our designer criteria aspect, any aspect. We are like an open book, and our main goal basically was from the beginning to make this a norm, make it a mainstream. So for us, that other fashion weeks would actually follow our footsteps or follow the same route. Our footsteps is maybe wrong way to say it. It's our benefit. It's our big goal. So the more fashion weeks actually become sustainable, the more we win. That is our goal.
And you already touched a bit upon, you said, the way we select designers. Can you elaborate this a bit more?
Yes, I believe that, or everybody in Helsinki Fashion Week believes that if you are to preach about something, you have to walk the talk yourself first. So in 2016, we collaborated on a project with WWF Finland and with Infinite Fiber Company, which is actually, I think, one of the innovators of fashion for good. So we actually went through every step of the supply chain to understand that what it actually takes to be or have a sustainable supply chain. So from that journey and project, we formed our designer criteria that we've been using since.
Wow. Thank you so much. And this year you're going fully digital. Was this already the plan, or did you just come up with this 2 months ago?
So what's really funny is that I came up with an idea to bring the designers to Helsinki prior Helsinki Fashion Week because it's kind of tiring to call, smaller brands young designers, which in, short means that designers that don't afford to, spend a lot of money to showcase their products or for marketing. So we really wanted to bring the designers behind the brands forward. So this designer residency's big idea was to get not only designers of different brands to collaborate with one another, but also to get to know that specific designer behind the brand. So the idea was to bring all the designers to Helsinki to work in the same atelier, collaborate, communicate, contribute to one another's collections. And now, obviously, that was supposed to be a live stream, broadcasted version of Helsinki Fashion Week. And we discussed we were planning digital showroom aspects. So there was a lot of digital aspects on the event already.
Wow.
So I say that we just took our tail with us and then became fully digital.
Yeah, because what does it mean to go fully digital? Could you explain a bit?
Absolutely. So this season we will start 20th of July till 26th of July. We will have the designer residency live streaming, where all the designers will be live streaming from their own locations. They will be accompanied by a group of mentors that we've been selected, like Claire Press, Bandana Tewari, or Mickey Boardman. We also have very impressive professionals from VTT or other science people and tech people to mentor our designers. And after that, we will be basically having the 3D Fashion Week. What we've done is that we've 3D scanned the models that were supposed to walk in Helsinki, and they will be walking the shows in the 3D digital environments that is built by our partner NDA Paris and Soldat Films. And basically the designers, the traditional sustainable designers that we have selected for this season have designed their new collections from the start, from the patterns basically, and collaborated with our digital atelier partner Lab in order to digitize every single aspect of their collections.
Yeah,
basically.
we will talk more with this with Tess as well, because she also was first-hand witness of doing this. Maybe two questions still. So what scares you the most about this change, and what do you see as the biggest opportunity?
So my biggest fear is the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've been already in a few Zooms, and all of a sudden then something just happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are you gonna try to overcome this?
We just gotta have positive attitude and
Great.
Go for it. Yeah, that's the only way. And then the biggest opportunity there is. I also actually see the biggest opportunities as the biggest challenges, because there is so many opportunities. There is so many technologies, so many companies that we work with. Whether it's an AI chatbot by Pandora Bots or blockchain by Loxo, and what else do we put on the same platform? Like, there is so many different options and technologies that we can put in one platform. So I think that the key this season is to basically focus on quality over quantity, which has been our whole thing anyway with Helsinki Fashion Week, that we got hundreds of applications, but only 15 were selected. And I'm really happy about the designers that we are working with.
Wow. And one of your goals is also to really stimulate conversation about sustainability. How will you be doing this when now everything is fully digital?
I think there has never been a moment more important than now to listen. So we will be focusing on listening this season.
Wow.
The village that we're building, where the 3D Fashion Week will take place, has a lot of, we're actually conducting a study on that platform. We have built a complete separate experience, including digital sanctuaries. We will place you on a blockchain when you sign into the digital village. We will use color and sound in a completely new way to give you a mindful experience to the fashion shows and after the fashion shows. So I think it's all about creating that experience and thinking about the user. Actually, there is a new press release on our website, and we are talking about redefining value. So somebody asked me recently that, okay, Evelyn, you know that there is a lot of other platforms that are doing the same thing as you're doing. What makes your platform different? I said, first of all, most important aspect is that what we put first, we don't put monetary value first, but we use monetary value as a tool to empower the whole collective that we have on the platform. What can we do to make everyone have the most out of this experience and out of their, work that they put out there? So I think it's the approach to what you prioritize. And the second aspect is the importance of, quality. So there is a lot of 3D elements and assets out there, but the things that I've seen, the work that Tess has done, she's pushing the limits of digitalization. Like, she is pushing to the millimeters on how do you, the specific details of the digital design. It's like literally haute couture digital. I have never seen such thing. I mean, we've done extensive research. We know what's out there, and we know what we've produced, not only with Lab, but with independent 3D designers that we will be announcing very soon on our website. And they will be also mentioned on the Digital Village platform. The quality and the values, right?
Wow.
So beauty and values, that's how we started in 2014, and we're still there.
You also look so proud when you say that. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what's really cool, because of course you're super busy right now, but it's so cool that when you talk about it, you really smile, you really look so proud. And of course you should as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I just have to say that, when your assistant, my personal assistant, is extremely happy, she's over the moon. When your partners are thanking you, even the results are not out yet, and you have designers like Tess van Zalinge, I'm just really grateful. I see myself as an enabler, and our team as group of enablers to make a platform which is safe and with right values for the right kind of people like Tess, who shares our values. And it's really gives a lot of pleasure to do things right. And it's of course very rewarding to see that it paid off to stick to the values and long for the long-term results.
Thank you so much. Who definitely also shares your values is our next guest, Jana van den Berg, who is innovation analyst at Fashion for Good. Yeah. Jana, you already met Evelyn once.
Yes, exactly. Maybe to give a quick introduction to Fashion for Good, we have the bold ambition to make all fashion good. And we're doing this through a number of initiatives. And one of these is our fashion museum in Amsterdam. And in this museum, we try to change the hearts and the minds of the consumers by educating them about the past, the present, and the future of the fashion industry in an interactive and digital way. And part of this is hosting many events with very cool people like Tess and Evelyn. So they have both been at our space already with cool events. And that's only one side of Fashion for Good. So on the other side, we also really focus on the supply chain. We have an innovation platform where we really try to bring together the entire industry. So startups, investors, brands, retailers, manufacturers, with the ultimate goal to drive more sustainable solutions in the fashion industry at every stage of the supply chain. So we are looking at Infinited Fiber company, for example, one of our startups that Evelyn mentioned, in the new material space, new dyeing technologies, and actually already before as well, but even more now, also digital fashion solutions.
Yeah, so, because could you please elaborate a bit? Because I heard that 20 minutes ago, your article is online. Exactly. Or only sneak peeks now.
Yeah.
You made an article on the impact of digitalization. Please tell me, give us some cues.
Yeah, definitely. So we are, of course, an innovation platform. And because of this lockdown, we really realized that we wanted to do something back. We wanted to help the industry forward. So we do a lot of research and scouting and finding of new startups. So we also did this in the digital space. So in this article, we really summarize how a fashion brand or a manufacturer, actually anyone in the fashion industry, can digitize their entire supply chain. And we also list a lot of promising startups that can actually help with this.
Yeah, who can enable them to actually make that really push.
Exactly.
And how was this for you? Were you curious to do this?
Yeah, definitely. So last year, we actually already had the Fabricant part of our programs, which is a digital fashion house as well. So back then I was really interested, but of course the fashion brands only really started accelerating their transition during COVID. So it was a bit of a blessing and a curse that it happened. Of course, a very sad situation, but I'm happy that at least we also got this out of it.
Yeah, because in the beginning, I really talked also about sustainability, and that this is really, really important. Yeah. But if I have sustainability and I have digitalization, how do you see these interlinked with one another?
Yeah, so talking about the Fabricant, the digital fashion house, what they do is they only produce garments for the digital world, so they will never be produced. And I think the sustainability angle there is, of course, obvious, as no garments will ever be made anymore. Yeah. But we're probably quite a bit out from that still. So at the moment, for the garments that still can be produced, I think something super interesting, and Tess probably also knows, is that you get a lot of feedback when you work with 3D design software. And for now, this is on the fit and on the cost price even, and technicalities. But at some point, this could also be on the sustainability of a garment. So when a designer would be using 35 different materials, they would get a notification like, hey, this is very difficult to recycle this garment. Please change it into this garment. Wow. So that's only one example.
Yeah, you also talked about maybe less samples.
Yeah.
Could you explain this a bit more?
Yeah, so of course, when you have these 3D assets and the 3D designs, you can use them as samples. So you replace the physical samples actually. So usually how the process works is that a designer designs something in 2D, they send it to the manufacturer, they make it, they send it back, they make some changes. Sometimes this goes back and forth, traveling over the entire world for 15 times.
Yeah, wow.
And if you have these assets online, you basically eliminate all these physical samples.
Well, I did hear that fabric swatches also allow people to really feel the garment. And this is, of course, also important when you choose to buy something. So how can this be replaced?
Yeah, so I think you mean indeed like a lot of designers and merchandisers and people that, buyers, they still want to feel the fabric as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think the fashion industry has realized that this is still an area that we need development in because, people want to feel it. But there are some really interesting startups actually working on haptic technologies, which are technologies through which you can actually feel the garment by like wearing a glove or holding your hand above a screen, and then it mimics basically what the fabric would really feel like.
Wow. Evelyn, did you also hear about already this technique?
Yes.
And what do you think about this?
I think overall digitalization is not just looking at the big picture. I think a lot of people think that digital fashion is now replacing, the traditional fashion industry, but that is not the case. We won't be going around naked. This is a tool. We have to understand that we will get the best. We have to get best of both worlds in order to, come up with solutions that really can tackle the sustainability challenges. I don't think that digital as it is so much more sustainable. And that is not an argument to me, because right now what we are doing, for example, we are measuring our digital footprint. We are measuring every single thing that we are doing, producing the digital village, from bandwidth to, the time that we spend, from electricity to everything, like what we did in the Eco Village in 2018. We measured from electricity to water to waste to food to transportation, everything. So I think it's not that black and white, which I really want to bring on the table. And also another thing that to keep in mind is that digital fashion automatically doesn't mean that it's cheaper or faster. It depends what you do and how you do it. Everything is everything in moderation, because there is a lot of talk right now that, designing in 3D can be more, cheap. And that is a wrong approach to 3D fashion to begin with.
What do you mean with cheap? Do you mean cheap for the people who buy it, cheap for the people who make it? What do you mean with cheap?
Both ways, we have to remember that there is people, actual human beings who are digitizing those looks. So, it's one thing to make a white T-shirt, and then there is another thing to make a haute couture of Tess van Zalinge's collection, or even like a more complicated piece of clothing. So we have to really pay attention not to exploit the digital in fashion industry, if you will, the same way as we've ended up doing in the real fashion industry. So we have to be extremely careful and mindful. And the whole digital sustainability report that we are doing with our partner Normative is going to be very important. It's one of a kind of its report, which is, again, I find myself in the same place where I was in 2014, where these aspects are not taken into consideration. Just like in 2014, sustainability was something that people will ask me, say, hey, prove it, that this actually, is something to focus on and implement and really take into account. Give us the numbers, prove it that this has to be done. Obviously now it's not the same case with digital fashion. We've learned from our mistakes as an industry, but still it's something to be very mindful of, that nothing is black and white.
Yeah, I must agree with that. I also think we shouldn't use these faster cycles to bring more products to the market, but better products to the market and more targeted on the right consumer, to
Absolutely.
Also reduce the immense overproduction we now have with physical fashion, which is like indeed produced with very long lead times. We're very far away from our consumer at the moment that we design a garment. So I hope that, indeed the fashion brands will take advantage of it in this way, is that they really take this as a moment to rethink the system and better produce what is necessary rather than also overproduction.
And how can we get there? Because now, of course, I heard like, okay, this could be a great opportunity, but how can we reach this?
I think it's coming both from the consumer and the brand side. We are of course working with a lot of fashion brands, and we really see that also when they're part of Fashion for Good, but also the other ones, that they really want to change and they're really listening to creating better products with better materials, because of course when you design digitally, you also have more time and more options to evaluate more sustainable solutions. And I think what I really hope after this lockdown as well is that the consumer also really will go into a different way into the fashion industry. Like, it's not necessary to buy that much. Treasure what you have. You were not wearing a lot of different items during lockdown either way. So yeah.
And
that's what I would say.
think regarding the consumer, is it now also, Evelyn, possible for them to maybe see some of the maybe talk shows, or how can you actually make sure that consumers who are interested in sustainability, that you can also get them to the table?
I think that specific age group in Helsinki Fashion Week, we have focused on the Gen Zs and millennials, and now we have our eyes also on alphas, even if they're super young. I think that the new generation, I'm going to keep calling them that, are extremely educated. They have access to a lot of information. We don't need to go and tell them anymore, what sustainable fashion is. I think what I really think that people, whether it's a company or it's a consumer, needs to focus on is creativity. I think that there is the basic things in our societies that we are ignoring, which has put us in the situation where we are right now. One of the most important things that I've heard from Fashion Week people from Africa, for example, or the scientists in Finland, or the designers in Netherlands, is the stock. What do we do with the stock that we haven't sold? All that material that we have. So right now in the fashion industry, there is no rules. There is no status quo. You don't need to be accepted by somebody to make it. So it's an absolutely
a free market. I would say a free market.
Free market, free world, to really embrace your creativity and to really value your creativity and use it. Trial and error again.
Yeah, definitely. I think I hope that also your article, Jana, will also really inspire young designers to also really think about this. And what do you think of this COVID, with this whole new digitalization? Mm-hmm. What do you think, what kind of skills do nowadays designers should have?
Like we said, I think a lot is moving now to 3D design. So when you're starting your career, I would definitely make sure to take like the minors in your education to be trained into 3D, because I'm not sure, I didn't do a fashion studies, but
I did.
I think it's still traditional mainly for now. But there are a lot of tools, like I've spoken with quite some software companies as well that offer free trainings, and in 3 days you can already like design something.
Yeah, wow.
So there is a lot of opportunity, and it's really a community. So you can also, they have Facebook groups where you can share your ideas and your designs. And I think that's a very great way to start. And of course, what is also happening with Helsinki Fashion Week, designing the garment is one thing, but being able to create this digital environment and animating it and putting it on an avatar, I think would also be a super valuable skill to have as a new designer.
Great, wow. Now, Evelyn, I go for the last part back to you, because how are the designers selected for this year's week? And are they all still on board, all the 15 of them?
I have to say, this is the nicest question that I've got, and the answer is really surprising for the second part. Firstly, we invite people to participate. So we have people like designers like Tess, which is showcasing for the first time in an international fashion week, and that's Helsinki Fashion Week, which is a huge honor for us. I really personally think that Tess is a very important designer, and she's someone. It's weird that you're there, but I'm not there. But she's someone that I think that will have a very successful and already has a very successful career and is a role model for a lot of upcoming designers. So we have our eye on certain designers that we invite to participate. But then a lot of designers from all around the world, especially from Asian countries, apply. And the application process is actually quite tiring. It's a long process. There is 2 video interviews, and there is the criteria part, and then there is the video part where the designers have to send a video in. So it's a quite complicated selection, but I have to say that when the Olympics got canceled, we had a couple of board meetings in Helsinki Fashion Week. And then I personally wanted to take the time to call each and every one of the designers that we had selected. And we told them that what we wanted to do. And one designer said that, okay, this sounds something that I'm not ready for. Everyone else said that we are in. Like, Tess was finishing my sentences, saying Patrick McDowell. It was really, I was shocked. And I was like, you know what? We've made the right decision because these designers that we have selected are in the same wavelength as we are. Yeah. And the final designer that said that she wasn't ready came back.
Wow. I was already going to ask you because I was sure that this person was going back because it's such a great opportunity. I also see that there are questions coming in. So one is for Jana. I look really forward to reading your article.
That's great to hear.
I know.
Yeah.
Where is it published? And also, guys, if you still have questions, comments, please feel free to do so. And you can do this in the Zoom link. If you go to the website of the Pakhuis, you go to the program page. There you can know how to get in. So where is this article published?
Yeah, so it was indeed, like you said, only 20 minutes ago it went live. So it is on our Medium account of Fashion for Good, but we will also start sharing it on our socials tomorrow. So if you follow our socials, you will be able to find it as well. And
what's the hashtag, just for people that they can already now directly go to their mobile?
If you go to the Medium, that is like a platform, and you look up Fashion for Good, then you will be able to find it.
You will be able to find it. Great. And they also has another question for you. How do you communicate your sustainability goals to your consumers and to your business partners?
I think it's pretty similar because Fashion for Good is really a place for collaboration, focusing on both the consumers and the supply chain. And we all have the same goal. We all want to make the fashion industry more sustainable. And of course, through our Instagram, we talk a lot with the consumers. And it is kind of different content, of course, because when we explain our startups, what they do, sometimes it's like hardcore chemistry. And the brand partners, the people that work in those companies need to know that. And we will explain it at a more higher level on our socials, but I would relatively say that we communicate about it in the same way.
And is there a favorite startup that you would love to share with us so that people can maybe know where to look at?
Well, I love a lot of them, I must say. But I already touched upon them. I think especially the Fabricant, they realized the opportunity of digital fashion even before this period already.
Yeah, wow.
They just launched their beta, which is called Lila, in which you can create your own avatar by making a photo of your face, and then you can try out all their beautiful digital designs, which can be like anything, dress made of electricity cables, like the sky is the limit.
Wow, and you can take a picture of yourself because the avatar is, of course, you, but then on a digital version. But can you also maybe do with a picture that it really shows that it's you? Or
so you take a photo of your face via your laptop and they put it on there. But half July, Fashion for Good will also launch a new team in the museum. And they will be part of that team, and then you can actually create the avatar in the space.
Wow. Then to round up this discussion, Evelyn, I have one more question for you. When will I be able to register for the event online? And what is the link for the digital village?
So it's digitalvillage.io, and we will be publishing the link on our social media in Instagram and Facebook and on our website. So everyone is welcome to join.
And then to wrap up, I would love to have one question for the both of you. What are you looking most forward to do next week? Just to give us a little peek of what your life is all about.
I am busy looking for a English-speaking bookshop in Paris. I have some books to buy. I think that's it. And then there is this Indian restaurant in Passage Brady that I want to try. So that's my plan. And other than work, of course.
Thank you so much. And Jana, what are you looking
for? Same for me also, like work, but the weather is going to be super great in Amsterdam. So even though I'm super excited about the digital space, I'm also looking forward to being like in real life outside in the sun.
Thank you so much. And please stay online, Evelyn. Jana, please stay and sit in this table, because if you want to discuss, you are more than happy to vocalize yourself. And now we come here with our designer, Tess. Yes. And because sometimes work has much more to say than 1,000 words. So we're going to start with a little video.
Let's do that. Met mijn werk maak ik een reis langs verschillende tradities. Deze, die zou er perfect bij kunnen. Dit is de laatste die we er nog in moeten verwerken. Die droom om designer te worden, dat is begonnen door mijn oma. Die maakte vroeger altijd de breipatronen voor een magazine. Dus daar is het wel begonnen, denk ik.
Hier zie je dus al die borduursels. Ja. En dit is echt zo'n hele oude baaf, ik denk uit 1800.
Maar het past bijna ook bij de techniek die ze hier toepassen. Hè? Sinds dat ik mode ben gaan studeren, heb ik altijd een affiniteit gehad met Nederlands erfgoed. Oh, hier is wel wat meer kant wat ik kan gebruiken. Met mijn meest recente collectie heb ik echt geprobeerd om met upcycling van bestaande items de mode-industrie een beetje wakker te schudden. Ik ben heel trots op dat alles wat hier wordt gemaakt door mijn handen is gegaan. En dat ik net die extra laag van aandacht en ambacht kan toevoegen aan elk item.
Ik vind het echt waanzinnig wat je hebt gemaakt. High five.
Ik geloof echt dat ambacht de toekomst is van mode.
This video was, of course, in Dutch, so I will translate it a bit to English. It says, you work with only refurbished materials and you really believe that craftsmanship is the future of fashion. Yeah. In the video, you even say that everything that actually you do, everything goes through your hands.
Yes.
So how is this for you now to live in this digital age and now actually working and doing everything in 3D?
Well, when Evelyn called me to like drop the bomb of we're going digital, I right away was like, I was shocked, but I also was so happy that she is a pioneer in this and just dares to take this step with her fashion week and her platform. So I was right away, what she already said, I was right away on board.
Wow.
It's challenging. I'm in the middle of this development. So for me, everything is sort of new. Like Jana already said, I did a course during my studies of digital design. So I know a bit of what is possible. But I have to be honest, that was in 2011. So there has been changed a lot. I'm challenged, but I love it.
Wow.
I think you as a creative should never say no to a challenge. You should always dive into it and keep yourself educating at all times.
I think this is so inspiring. I think actually the three of you all said this now in a little bit slightly different wording, but also Jana said, weet je, what can we actually do to serve the community? How can we dive into this topic? Now you also said, like, how can you make use of it?
Yeah.
And then you were connected to somebody who knows everything.
Yeah.
Your Canadian expert friend.
Yes.
Emily Switcher.
Emily, shout out.
How did this came into place?
Evelyn made the connection. I think they put online an application for digital designers to apply. So every traditional designer that's part of the Helsinki Fashion Week was connected to one digital designer. And I have the honor to work with Emily. She's based in Canada. And I have to admit, in the beginning, it was quite a challenge with the time difference, of course. But actually, what is so fun about that collaboration, that you can really see what is happening behind the scenes of translating your designs as a crafted designer I am, how that's what I need to do to create that in a digital way. And it's really nice to see how that works and how she reacts on stuff that I say. It's also really fun to have Zoom meetings like that and talk about your designs. Like, it's really weird. Normally I do everything myself. And now it was, it's quite a challenge, but it's really nice actually.
So how do you work? Because you also, now we're going to show some of your...
Yeah. I brought some images from print screens from my laptop. What I usually do, like normally I work with my hands. And now it was my turn to make technical drawings in Illustrator, Photoshop, take photos of my patterns, turn them into Illustrator sketches with all details. Like the fabric that I made, I have it actually here on the table as well. How we can digitalize it, make tons of movies and pictures on how the fabric is moving, what kind of shine and details that I want to achieve with my designs. That has been basically my life nowadays, to sit behind my computer and really try to catch what I'm doing in the atelier that's normally so like crafted and a lot of embellishment and embroideries.
Yeah. Are you still working in your atelier or are you working at home?
No, I'm working in the atelier.
And was that actually a choice, or did you already know I want to still be in the atelier because this is the place where I also normally work?
Well, when we were on lockdown, of course, my team was at home. And I chose to go to my atelier and have a bit of a social isolation for myself. And we talked about it earlier, but for me, being by myself and being in my creative bubble all by myself, that never happens. Like, I'm always surrounded by people or team members, interns, whatever. So that was quite nice to sort of say, sorry team, but it was also sometimes you could really like dive into your own creative bubble and think about what am I doing? What do I want to achieve at Helsinki Fashion Week? What do I want to do with my designs? So I really challenged myself with working only with stuff, materials, patterns, everything that I have in the four walls that I have my atelier.
Wow.
Yeah.
And can you take us a little bit along? Like, where were your thoughts? How did they progress themselves?
I think when we started talking about digital designing, I wanted to stay true to my way of working. For me, designing is a very emotional way and a very emotional process, and I think for me, doing something on a computer doesn't have that emotional connection yet. So I really believe that there's still a gap between the emotional design that I'm doing and what I'm trying to do with digital design.
Yeah, so if any technical person wants to jump in this void, please do. This is an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not the expert here. And that's also makes you sometimes insecure in the process. And it makes you second guess everything what you're doing. I'm a doubting person when it comes to my work. But it's still an amazing journey, but you just have to have the right mindset to really want it and to really dive into it and learn it yourself. And I think with Emily especially, like, I understand so much more what is possible and what fits my aesthetic, because everything is possible in digital design. You can do anything. There's another challenge, though, that we also have to make the collection, of course, that we're creating and giving a premiere at Helsinki Fashion Week.
Yeah, so that's maybe also good to pinpoint out. So that first you're doing the digital one, and then afterwards you really also have to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually working on it. I have here some swatches I took with me that you can actually see also on the screen now. So we develop everything in swatches first because it's so crafted. And also maybe I'm sort of cheating in the digital design world now by making it first and then trying to... but I already noticed so many steps that we have done digitally that I would like to continue for the rest of my designing process. Wow. That's really helpful. Yeah. It's making it faster, but sometimes we also already discussed it. Sometimes fast is not the best thing to do. So I'm trying to find my balance and to find a way that fits my aesthetic and my way of designing. And I think that's really important when it comes to digital design, that you really, as a traditional designer, try to find ways to use it, but really stay true to your own aesthetic.
So what is, for example, then an upside of going digital? If you just talk about yourself, you say, okay, staying true to my identity. Yeah. What is the upside? And maybe also please show it to the camera over there.
Well, these are some of the swatches that I made, for instance, with just super small waste materials that I have left from all the materials, that I have left. So it's all little scraps that we just put together to create our own material, basically. For me, I am maybe too traditional to understand how I can create this in the digital world, but I think it is possible. But for me, it was really necessary to first still feel it, what you also said in the beginning. But I think we're getting there. Like it's a world that's developing and it's going very fast. And I really believe that what the upside of it is that you can experiment more and quicker with some details, for me at least, like seeing something in a different color, quickly seeing it stiffer or whatever. We tried everything. Wow. And that's really fun to see. And normally you have to think everything through, like what am I going to pick? What am I going to select? How does this work? Etc. etc. And sometimes now, even with a click on a mouse, you can just add something or take something out. It's so much fun to like play around with it. Wow. Yeah. You were already talking about the mindset. Can you maybe share with us one moment where you were a bit low and what did you do to overcome this? So when was it a bit harsh? I think what is harsh about it, that maybe sometimes the programs are not as detailed as I want it to be, but maybe it's also what do you mean with this? Well, it's just like I usually try to design in a very intuitive way, and doing something by the computer, you have to program it and do it, and there's not something like you can just let something appear and something comes out of your hands. I think that designers or creative people would understand what I mean, like just draping and just... Maybe I truly believe that there are digital designers who can do that, but for me, that's a bit too far to think like that. And I think that is something that will happen eventually, and I would love to be part of it. But I think that's something that's also why I still like to work with the materials myself. And that's something I see like, okay, there's some improvement for me or for the programs or for the way how I work. And I'm quite a control freak. So that's also a challenge, like letting other people design your ideas, like being so creative, and then you have to all of a sudden put it in a computer. And
how can you give one example of a person who positively surprised you?
Yeah, definitely Emily. I'm sorry. This is like a commercial for Emily. No, well, the funny thing is, like, okay, what was really funny, what she said to me and explained to me, that sometimes the digital world is so much more complicated than the real world. It has a lot of benefits, but it also has some weird stuff, like tugging in a t-shirt. For us, it's like a 1 second job, like tugging it in and like getting it done. In the computer and trying to dress your avatar with a tucked in t-shirt, it's not as simple as that. So little facts like that just surprises me. Like, I think it's just funny to see how. I think the merge is going to happen. We're not there yet, but I think those kinds of things make it also challenging to see how you can sometimes trick the eye a bit, like as if it's tucked in.
Wow. I get so enthusiastic about and so also looking forward to the future because you talk so inspiring about it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And you're also a bit of an activist because you only are using refurbished material.
Yes.
And now you're also using your own, you're wearing a t-shirt that you made together with the WWF.
Yeah.
Can you explain this a bit? And then maybe afterwards tell why did you have this idealism or activism? And
I wouldn't say call myself an activist, but I'm just me. No, I created an embroidery of a koala bear and a kangaroo for the bushfires that happened in Australia. And we did an auction online, and that was amazing. Like loads of reactions, and
because you have a family connection with Australia, right?
Yeah. Yes, and we raised a lot of money. So it was just like. I want to do something. What can I do as a creative person? So we created this super nice embroidery. And then it got noticed by WWF, the Netherlands. And together with Moam, we made this t-shirt to raise some money for, some was a lot, basically.
Good. Yeah, it was needed.
Yeah, it was really good. And for me, it was a week of work, but it felt... that kinds of project feels for me even better than just creating. I think it's necessary, and like if I can do something with my hands to help out, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, great. Yeah. I really want a t-shirt, but I heard that they are sold out, aren't they?
But I can ask.
Yay!
I can always ask.
And you already met each other as well, because Fashion for Good, as you said, is also you also have a museum.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is open, so everybody's really welcome to go and visit because it's in the city center of Amsterdam, near the Kalverstraat. Am I right?
Yeah, it's at Bergen. Of course, we're open with restrictions, so it's for now one-on-one tours, and we also are hosting some digital events and digital tours actually. So happy to welcome everyone. Also to explain a bit more about Fashion for Good myself.
Leuk.
And, indeed, like I said already before, we're almost launching a new team in mid-July actually, and it's really about rethinking fashion. So very applicable to this topic as well, I think.
And you've also held an exhibition about the work of Tess. Why did you select her?
Our amazing experience manager selected Tess, but I think we were just, like you said, also the way you design, aside from the digital way with refurbished materials, it's just very much in line with how we think about fashion and about how the fashion industry should go forward, both because it's craftsmanship and also, of course, because it was reused materials.
Yeah, so what is the intrinsic motivation behind using these kinds of materials?
I think it's super interesting to, like for me, I think upcycling and reusing materials, it's happening in fashion industry. Even I sometimes teach at certain art schools, and you really see that the new generation just thinks like that. And I think it's super inspiring, and we should think like that. We all should think
because
like
we
that.
also have a video. I think maybe we can also play this a bit in the back, because we have a video actually of the wonderful dresses that you made out of this refurbished material.
Yeah, this was actually the at Fashion for Good for the launch of the exhibition. We did a fashion show for invite only. For the Dutch press, and it was that was me
in full concentration mode.
It was such a nice way to open a fashion exhibition at their museum.
Wow.
And this collection was actually made out of all the trash and leftovers that comes from a wedding.
Wow.
So from old wedding dresses till table linen, flowers, even everything was upcycled from a wedding. I don't know why I get so attracted to it. It's just, I think the challenge is here to create out of trash something that is so sophisticated and that people don't even... I don't even want to tell them that it's made out of old wedding dresses. I just want them to be in awe and that I can inspire them. And then if they visit the exhibition, they can understand what I'm trying to do. But I think at first I just want them to think it's amazing and then...
Wow.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like when you got into the space and you saw like all your dresses there, the first thing is you think, whoa, this is amazing. This looks so cool. Who did this and how was it made? And only later, and of course people, when they get to Fashion for Good, they already expect a bit that it's like related to sustainability, and then you explain the story and then people are even more impressed with it.
Evelyn, does it also resonate with you? Because you already talked a bit about the new generation. And what I also hear from Tess now is that she's saying, I'm not an activist and I actually don't want people to know that it's refurbished. I just want people to love it, actually. How does this resonate with what you see around the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really inspiring, first of all, this program is amazing. Just to see, like, I mean, we have a digital atelier that has digitized the looks of the designers, but we still wanted to have this one 3D designer to collaborate with our traditional designers. And what I'm hearing from Tess is really incredible with her collaboration with Emily. Cheers to Emily again. She's gonna love us after this. But yeah, I don't think you need to brand things in a certain way. I think like I said before, just because it's sustainable, it doesn't have to look like it. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to compromise with the aesthetics just because you have good values. I feel that this is a dilemma that is connected to sustainability, that when it's sustainable, it has to be, lesser or more challenging or more limiting.
No, I mean more that you really, because now you see, of course, the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And that's what everybody's really vocalizing, that they want change. And of course, it needs to be beautiful, because I think we already are past that, right? But do you also see that people are maybe less vocalizing it?
I was sitting on my couch and really thinking about this whole Black Lives Matters very important movement, change, wave that is overdue. I think that in terms of sustainability, the issues, the reason that we have unsustainable fashion industry or unsustainable supply chains is that our core aspects, whether we talk about poverty or social inequality or racism or, there is many other aspects, education, that has to be fixed.
Yeah, equal pay, as you already mentioned as well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can, move to other aspects. But those are the core things that, the mindset. When we talk about the mindset in Helsinki Fashion Week, that's what we mean, that you go deep in your self-conscious and your subconscious, and you really, you really believe in your values and you act on them. And it's not just using some fabric, but why you're using that fabric, how you're using that fabric, and
and it's so beautiful that Tess is really resonating with it, because she also really said that she was just in her bubble and really thinking, okay, what am I now gonna do? So it's so perfect how the two of you just met each other. You're so complementary.
Actually, I have to say, do you remember when we met? I came to your atelier and then we made this article for Forbes China.
I know.
And then, do you remember what we talked about? What was the first question that I asked you when I saw your stuff?
Yeah, that I developed this in Illustrator, and you were like, how is this possible? There was...
Yeah, and we started talking about digital design.
Yeah.
and it's so bizarre to be here now. After talking about, and I think we did come to a conclusion.
Okay, I'm so sorry, but I really have to finish because the program is about to end. I am so sorry. Thank you so much. Evelyn, please stay here because we also have a tip for you for the bookstore in Paris. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Salto people, for who have been watching. And hopefully we'll see you some other time at the live cast of Pakhuis de Zwijger. And if you have time this week or one of the next weeks, please go visit Fashion for Good at the Rokin. Evelyn, thank you so much for attending and attributing your time. Now I'm gonna say the bookstore. The bookstore is the Red Wheelbarrow Bookstore in Paris. Red, like the color. Wheel, like of a car. Wheelbarrow Bookstore in Paris for English books. And tell Pinopoly, the owner, that I sent you. Jean Ruda.
Thank you, Jean. This is fantastic. So much.
And Tess, thank you so much. I wish you all the luck. Now digital and of course September as well.
Thank you.
And Jana, thank you so much. And I hope a lot of people are going to watch it.
Yeah, thank you so much.